introduction. My name is Sandy Ratliff. I'm with Locus, formerly known as Virginia Community Capital, and we're one of the partners in this professional development series that we've been doing. It's hard to believe we're going on our 11th year. And this is a partnership with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the Town of Abingdon. If this is your first time or your 100th time, we sure do happy that you could join us. We feel like this is a great program, and I'm not just saying this from what I see, but what I hear from others in other parts of the state of Virginia. Just a little housekeeping. Today's session is being recorded for education and training purposes, and after the session, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube.com/New Knowledge, and you can find over 220 workshops that we've done since 2015. It will also be uploaded to the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator's Facebook page. You'll notice that we do have everyone muted, and that's to help keep the webinar going forward, because I know everybody's on a short time frame. But if you do have a question for our presenter today, please post those in the Q&A section, and we will address those during and especially after the session. We're delighted to have Chad Thompson. Chad is the marketing coordinator with the Town of Abingdon and a content creator that has lots of experience in using AI. I, for one, have been looking forward to this session. As we were talking before we went live, there are parts that we are already using with apps that we have on our devices, but there's a whole lot more that you can do with it. So, Chad, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can share with folks all the great things you've been doing over the years and your experience with AI.
Thanks a bunch, Sandy, and thanks to everybody tuning in this afternoon and joining us on your lunch break. So today what we're going to cover is kind of how you can leverage AI in various ways. So I have here managing and growing a business or destination, but you don't have to limit it to just that. The limits to artificial intelligence are only limited to what your imagination can do. And we'll kind of get into that as we go along. I've got some hands-on live demos that we'll do, so you can kind of get an idea of just a few of the many features that it has. So a little bit of backstory about me. As Sandy mentioned, I'm the marketing coordinator for the Town of Abingdon, Virginia. And I've been in hospitality marketing and tourism since about 2018. I started off as a freelance content creator, and then worked my way up through some contracting jobs into a regional tourism position that I did for about 2 or 3 years until I transferred over here to the Town of Abingdon, where I currently live. For fun, I do create a lot of educational content for marketing, productivity, small business oriented on YouTube. So I really just kind of do a deep dive into things that I do on a daily basis and just kind of freely share that information, kind of like what we're doing here today. And I'm also a co-owner in a small business that I assist my wife with. And a lot of my involvement is helping her on the back end of things with marketing, teaching her some of the things that I know. And then we do utilize AI quite heavily for a lot of different areas outside of just marketing, but also just kind of planning the business ahead, coming up with ideas, maybe structuring things such as finances. So it has a lot of different use cases that we find value in. So talking about AI, as of 2023, it's estimated that AI could increase global domestic product by up to 14% by 2030, which amounts to an additional 15.7 trillion, making it the biggest commercial opportunity in today's fast-changing economy. And I was watching somebody talk about artificial intelligence the other day. One of the fears there is that AI is going to start replacing jobs. And to a degree, there is some truth to that. And, you know, that's nothing new. We've seen that with things over the years. You think about the invention of electricity that got rid of people that needed to go and light the lanterns along streets and towns. And basically from that, we started getting electricians and light bulb manufacturers. So although AI might replace some jobs and tasks, it's going to create many more opportunities for a lot of us out there to explore different types of career growth. So when we're really thinking about artificial intelligence, you know, what is it? Well, it's a branch of computer science that aims to create systems capable of performing tasks that normally require human intelligence. And a few examples of those are learning, decision-making, problem-solving, perception, and language understanding. And actually, whether you know it or not, I've been using AI for many years. One of the first ever notable accounts of artificial intelligence was probably around 1956, although it wasn't nearly as powerful and as advanced as we see it these days. Those changes started coming around the 80s and then has just been evolving ever since to what we see in modern days. So a few things of what AI can do for you. It can help you with management practices, growth, and marketing. So to break those down, in the management category, you can optimize operations. So for example, you could use some type of artificial intelligence software, plug in information about how your business or whatever it is, your organization is currently operating things, and it can help you develop better strategies based on research that's already out in the market, based on what's been successful for other businesses, and take a look at all that and what's going on in your business and help you develop a better plan. And we'll look at some things like that here in just a moment. It can help with things like cost reduction, enhancing efficiency, customer experiences, data analyzation, sales performances. And in marketing, one of the areas that I most utilize this is content marketing and planning. So, you know, a lot of times we're bound by tunnel vision, just however far that our own mind and ideas will let us explore. So we can use different types of AI programs to help us come up with new ideas and new directions and strategies that are going to be more specific to our target audiences and markets. It's also something great to help you with market plans. And it can also just provide some simple professional advice and guidance in different scenarios. So if you're somebody that doesn't have a marketing background at all, you can have AI get to a really simplistic means and speak to you in layman's terms about a lot of these different technical jargons that are out there that you might not understand. You can have it explain it to you. You can use it almost like a teacher that's teaching you different ways in a very basic fundamentals to do all these different things. So when you're getting started with AI, there's a few things you want to ask before you really jump in, because there's tons of options out there. And I'm just going to hit on some of the bigger ones here today, but there is AI for pretty much anything you need. If you can think it and you need it, it probably already exists. But you got to think about what your needs are, what your goals are, what do you want to get out of having AI involved in your workflow. What areas do you need improvement in? Is that a virtual assistant? Is it a chatbot for your service-based business? Is it, you know, a marketing plan? What are those areas that you could improve on, and how can AI help you? And then also, what's your budget? Now, what I'm going to be showing today is either going to be free of charge or relatively low cost. But looking at the 4 AI options here on the side, first we have is Chat GPT. That's one of the biggest ones that everybody talks about, and the one that I utilize, I would say, every single day. I use it for my day job, my small business, my YouTube, my personal life, and, you know, just for fun. And what Chat GPT is, it's a real-time AI chat experience that is limited only to your imagination. So whatever you can put in there and think of is what it can essentially do. So think of ChatGPT as more of like a person that knows everything. And I'm sure we know a lot of real people in real life that are like that, but ChatGPT really does know virtually everything. And I say that with caution because it has been known to be wrong. Even in the paid versions, there's sometimes it gets things a little bit off. And a lot of that is because maybe if we're talking about the destination tourism industry, for example, there might be listings or things out on the internet, such as blog articles or Google listings that haven't been updated. And if it comes across those, it might use some of that in its research. So it's really good that when you are communicating with things like ChatGPT, that you know somewhat about what you're inputting in and the information you're getting back, just so you can fact check that and cross-reference it with other sources, whether that be scientific studies, certain research, or what have you. The next one that's made it really big into the market is Midjourney. And I don't know if you saw the background on my screen or not, but the virtual background I have, if it isn't showing, we can show it later, was created with Midjourney. Midjourney costs somewhere in the ballpark of about $10 a month. And essentially what it does, you type in these things called prompts, which we're going to talk about in just a second, and you're able to generate artificial intelligence images in the matter of seconds. So usually about 30 to 60 seconds, it'll generate a few options for you, and then you can choose from those options what you'd like to use. Some of these things are very impressive, and you almost can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not at this point. And then some areas it still needs a lot of improvement on. CapCut is a popular video editor that is free. You can actually get this on your mobile phone. You can get it on your desktop. You can edit in web browsers. But one of the reasons I wanted to include it is because it actually uses a lot of artificial intelligence to help with video editing. So it can go in and find pauses in your video. So if I'm sitting here speaking and I'm talking, I'm going through my script, and then I continue a little bit later, maybe I make a mess up and I have to start over. It can recognize all those pauses for me. And where as a video editor, it used to take me anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to go through and cut all these things out. Now I can tell the AI to do it for me. And in like 10 seconds, it can go through a 15-minute long video and cut out all those areas, saving me 30 minutes in video editing. So just little things like that are phenomenal in what it can do. You can also use it to help you find overlaying video footage. You can tell it kind of what your video is about and what you need, and it will help you find certain types of footage or photos to put over top of what you're seeing to provide visual references for people. And it's very user-friendly to use a platform like CapCut. And then finally, something that you're maybe familiar with is a chatbot. You know, we've been seeing these on websites for years, but used to, it was basically the way it worked on the back end was you plugged in a question, and then based on the user's response, you would have a certain answer, and it would be like almost like a tree that leads them to a certain point, which was either did you get everything that you needed out of this conversation, or you need to speak to an actual person. The difference with a lot of chatbots today is because they do use artificial intelligence, they can have more of an intimate conversation as if it were a real person. They'll have a lot more answers. You're not so limited on the responses. And that's probably an area that's very beneficial for a lot of businesses out there. So again, that's just about 4. There's hundreds of different AI services out there for things like social media scheduling. You can do, of course, all kinds of different content creation. There's writing things, even like Grammarly. Grammarly takes a look at things that you as a human are typing out and writing and will offer you suggestions. That's basically a form of an intelligence that has been programmed to assist with things like that. But today we're going to be focusing on ChatGPT. There is a free version available that anybody can get just by signing up with your email. I'll be showing the paid version, which is about $20 a month. But most of what I'll be doing, you can do in the free version. The main differences are, and I'll show you more once we get in there, is that the free version has a limit. So it has a cutoff date of information. So in the past, I think it was September of 2021. Any new information that came out after September 2021, the free version did not have access to that. So basically, the free version doesn't have the ability to scour the web for updated articles. It can only look inward at what it already has in its system. I think that date has been moved forward, so it's a little bit more modern than that. But then the paid version actually has the ability to scour the web live as if you were just going to Google. So the 3 demos that we're going to go through here today are a basic marketing plan outline for a small business, writing a press release for a new business, and then a little fun one that I use every week, meal prep plan for busy professionals. So what we have to do is create something called a prompt, because the AI is only as smart and as good as the instructions that we give it. You know, if you were to go to IKEA or Home Depot or wherever, and you buy like this very intricate piece of furniture, if you're not given instructions on how to put it together, you might be successful, but then in what comes out of that might not look like it does in the box. So think of these prompts as the instructions you would get with furniture pieces. So the prompt that we're going to be using here today is, I need a marketing plan outline for my small business located in Abingdon, Virginia. We are a general store that hosts a variety of vendors. We need help with social media, digital, and print marketing. So what I'm providing here in this prompt is information so that it can gather enough resources for me to be as accurate and as successful as possible. So I'm telling it that I'm a small business, I'm telling it what type of business I am, where I'm located, as well as what I need help with. So now what it's going to do is find the marketing outline and create it that is best for me based on the location that I'm in. So it's going to do a little bit of target market research, figure out who's living in this area, who's visiting this area, and determine what marketing is going to be best to target those people. So I'm going to go ahead and move this screen down and hop into ChatGPT. But first, let me copy and paste this prompt. So this is what ChatGPT looks like. I'll show you this real quick before we jump into things. So essentially, you're just open up this screen. Now, the paid version, you're able to do things like upload files and again, search on the live internet. But they also have this thing called GPTs. So GPTs are custom GPTs that have been created by, if it'll load here, local government internet is not always the best, so we may have a little technical struggle. But while this is loading, I'll kind of continue talking about the GPTs. So the GPTs are custom made by individuals. So I've created some of my own GPTs. For example, I really like the show Game of Thrones. One of my favorite characters is Tyrion Lannister. Because he's just a neat character. So I actually created a custom GPT that talks to me and acts just like him. So the reason I do that, you're just customizing the experience. So when I ask ChatGPT something, it's going to reply back to me in a manner that he would do. So maybe I'm logged out here. I'm sorry. I guess if anybody has any questions while I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my GPT here, I can go ahead and start addressing some of those. I guess Kathy or Sandy, do y'all have any questions?
I don't see anything, but just while that's loading, a quick question that I had is, does this include if a lot of organizations and businesses have cybersecurity insurance? Is this something that would be included as part of your cybersecurity insurance?
Well, that's a great question. I guess it would depend on what type of information you're loading into this. So it's really only going to know as much about you as what you're putting in there. So I probably would not put like personal information, like, obviously things like passwords, bank account statements, or anything like that. But if you're just doing more generalized things and not including personal information from whether it's yourself or clients or customers or what have you, you're probably going to be in a pretty safe.
A question that came up, does it store your information, and how confidential is the information you give it?
So it does store chats that you have put in there. You can delete them once you're done. But if you want to have like recurring conversations and continue to talk with the chat over time about a particular topic that you're not going to complete in a session, that is in there. As far as how it is storing your information, I don't know if that's completely clear, but it is using what you give it. So any information you put in there with it, it uses that to learn more, to become a better program for one, but also to learn you a little bit more. So it is ever evolving and learning as you're using it. And there's different things there that probably are being stored on the back end. They're pretty transparent with a lot of stuff. If you look into OpenAI and look at some of their workshops they've done, their live presentations, as well as their blogs about how they utilize the information. I don't think necessarily that it's anything. I mean, obviously any data that exists on the internet can be tapped into in some way or another. But I don't think they're actively selling that information.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I'm going to try to log in as another browser and see.
You're going to have to share your screen again. I hope you realize that.
Oh yeah, I was just cutting it off while I was
okay.
typing in some passwords and things here. Okay, it looks like I may have it pulled up. So let me share again and we'll try it in this browser. Okay, so I'm just going to try with the prompt, and if it all starts to load up, we'll show you some more about the GPTs and things. But so this was the prompt that we created for the marketing outline. So it looks like, I hope that they're not down right now. That's the other thing that you never know about some of this AI software. So ChatGPT, it seems to be working on my phone. Something's just off about my computer. But sometimes these things do go down. You know, it's kind of like your cable bill. So you're paying for this service, which I am now, and you can see clearly that it's not working. So it's one of those things, sometimes you take a risk on certain dates to operate here. Let's see. I'm going to try to type it in on my phone app, and then I can at least tell you what it's doing and try to see if I can get it to show up here on the screen.
So Chad, while you're, I don't know if you can talk and do that or not, but we have a question that says, does it store your information, and how confidential is the information you give?
Yeah, we just addressed that one. I saw
Oh.
it up in chat, and he just addressed that.
I'm sorry, I had to walk away for a second.
No problem.
I guess I could add to it as well. So the only information that it has about me on the back end is an email address, and then also whatever payment information you use. So if you are concerned about maybe having like a debit or credit card attached to it, you could find some form of like safer electronic payment to use. And then maybe if you really want to be safe, you could set up a brand new email address specifically for the AI app. I feel like ChatGPT being one of the bigger ones is fairly safe, but even at this point, Google's working on their own AI as well as Microsoft, and ChatGPT actually works a lot with Microsoft Bing to find a lot of its information. So that's actually the search engine that it's using for a lot of this stuff. All right, good deal. I've got it working now. So you'll see that over here on the side, we have a new chat, which is what I just created on my phone using that prompt, and I'll show you here in a second. But over here are some GPTs that I either have created or borrowed from others. So I've created one called Destination Marketer, which helps just a lot with market research for like DMOs, so a destination marketing organization. And what this one does, it was carefully created for for more of a local economy. So it knows a lot about Southwest Virginia, Washington County, and Abingdon. It helps me come up with things like travel trends, what our audience looks like right now, and also just different creative ideas that other DMOs are doing across the country to help spark some new interests in our communities. I have a video script editor. You know, I talked about that I make YouTube videos, so I will type up my scripts and I'll have this help me clean them up and offer suggestions, give me B-roll video ideas, just to help kind of cater that experience and tailor it a little bit more. I've been working on one to help with channel growth. So learning the YouTube algorithm and different features as it changes over time. And then of course my Tyrion Lannister one that I told you about. So, but if we go into the chat here, we can see that I put in this marketing plan outline for this business here in Abingdon. So what ChatGPT did is it told me what it's going to do. So the objectives here, the target audience, social media strategy, digital and print marketing, and then the measurement and adjustment. So it's going to break this up for me in a few different ways. So the first way is it's going to give me the objectives. And that is to increase foot traffic into our store. So it tells me that I need to aim for a specific percentage increase in store visits within a certain time frame. I need to boost online engagement. It's going to tell me a little bit about that. Community engagement. It's going to break down my target audience for me. It's going to give me a brief outline of a social media strategy for digital marketing, print marketing, and then how we can measure and adjust what's happening, and then implementation. So all I asked for was an outline, which is exactly what it gave me. But now let's say I wanted to learn more about one of these topics. So under objectives, increase foot traffic, I could actually ask ChatGPT, you know, could you tell me more about the objective of increasing foot traffic and how I might do that. So then you can watch in real time as it is going to give you that information in the matter of seconds. Now, the way that ChatGPT works is just like a chat. So imagine you're sitting down with a person, a professional in this case, and you're having a conversation. So they're going to tell you whatever the answer to your question is, but then it's up to you to go in and kind of engage with that and kind of go back and forth in the chat to learn more about these different sections. ChatGPT can get as detailed and intimate about information as you want it to, or it can be just very brief in an outline so that ultimately you're coming up with things. But this is already showing us a bunch of different ways so we can leverage local events. So in this case, in Abingdon, if there's a local event happening and we know that, we can leverage those to host our own in-store events or leverage the events that the Town of Abingdon is sponsoring, knowing that there's going to be more people downtown and trying to figure out ways to get them in our store. Maybe that's having an employee or someone else walking down the streets with these masses of people walking around, handing out flyers, giving them an incentive to come into the store. Maybe it's putting out a sidewalk or sandwich board if that's possible. Just something to let people know you're open for business and you want them to come inside. It also has create a unique in-store experience. So theming your displays, things that are interactive through the windows, things that'll draw people's attention. And it's not always going to give you the most innovative wow factor ideas. Sometimes it's going to be stuff that maybe to you is very basic, but sometimes it's things that we might often overlook. I think about it like on my drive to work. There's so many amazing things I pass on my drive to work every day I don't even see anymore because I've seen them so often I don't think about it. Sometimes ChatGPT will tell you things that you technically already know, but it might spark some type of new idea or creativity to innovate with what you already got going on. So we have things like local partnerships, optimize your local SEO. And if you see things on the list that it offers to you that you don't understand, ask it more. So for this case, I can go down here and say to ChatGPT, tell me more about optimizing for local SEO. And I'm going to leave optimizing spelled wrong because ChatGPT is so smart that it knows what I'm talking about. I don't have to fix it. So if you're bad at spelling and grammar, ChatGPT doesn't care. So I could also say, I don't know anything about this. So by giving it these prompts with more information, like I don't know anything about SEO. Well, now not only is it going to give us some insight about local SEO optimization strategies, but it's also going to kind of explain to us what those are. So you can see here, it starts off with a paragraph kind of explaining local SEO. So it gives me an idea of a little bit more of what it is. If I needed to elaborate more, I can do that. If not, then I just continue on. So here it's talking about Google My Business profile optimization. I agree with that. That is huge. I know with the bookstore that I'm helping my wife with, we get anywhere from 700 to about 1,000 people a month finding out about us through our Google business profile. So those things are huge. And if you don't know much about how to set them up or what you should include or have wording for those, I mean, ChatGPT can essentially help with that process. But that kind of gives you an idea of a few of the things you could do with ChatGPT, at least in the development of this marketing plan. So you already see that we have all this information that it's done here in like 5 minutes by us having a conversation with it that would have taken us probably hours to create on our own. But let's look at another prompt. So for this one, I'm going to do a press release for a new business. I won't read all of this, but basically I'm telling ChatGPT where the business is going to be located, the name of the business, which in this case is Soapy Tails. We're a pet washing and grooming business, which caters to dogs and cats. We need a press release to send out to the media, letting everyone know about our business. I tell it when we're going to open, what our hours of operation are, our website where people can find out more information, and that we're inviting the media and the general public to come tour our facility on this particular day and time, and that we'll have free treats available. So that's the prompt I'm going to give it. So this is great if you've never written a press release before, or you need to get one out very quickly. So all I'm going to do is say to, well, actually, let's just start a brand new chat. So we'll go over here, and I'm actually going to use the free version for this one because we don't necessarily need to research anything. We're just putting in the information that ChatGPT wants us to have. So I need you to act as a PR professional and help me write a press release following. And then we'll just copy and paste our prompt. And now it's going to kind of tell us what it's going to do, and it's going to actually begin the process of writing that press release. So you can see that it's already formatted it pretty well with how a formal press release would look. And we'll just read the first paragraph. So Abingdon, Virginia, February 21st, 2024. Abingdon's pet-loving community is wagging its tails in anticipation as Soapy Tails announces its grand opening on Friday, March the 1st, 2024. Located in the heart of Abingdon, Soapy Tails is set to redefine pet grooming and washing with its premier services catering to both dogs and cats. Now you can look on down through here, make sure it's got all the information correct, make whatever changes that you need that are necessary, make sure the formatting looks right. And, you know, within the matter of about 15 seconds, we've got a fully finished press release that's ready to go. We use these for the bookstore. So every time that we have an event going out, we use these to help us write it, because sometimes, you know, when you have a full-time job and you're running 2 or 3 side businesses, and then you're trying to have a life and do chores and everything else, you don't necessarily have an hour to sit down and do something like this. So the time you can save with these chat softwares, I think is well worth it, especially the investment.
Chad, we got a couple questions as
Okay.
you're going through that. First of all, does it answer only in words, or will it do graphs and spreadsheets in whatever you're asking the question in?
So that is a great question. So that is something that's available on the paid programming. It does have access to DALL-E, which is OpenAI's image creator, and it can do basic things like that. I don't think it's the best. I think ChatGPT is great at chat and creating lines of code. So for example, here's a use case of a line of code. I was building a website for my photography portfolio. I had something break on the website and I could not for the life of me find it. I'm not like an expert coder either. So I copied and pasted the section website code that I knew was broken, put it into ChatGPT, and within 10 seconds, it told me what was wrong and how to rewrite the code to make it work. So it's really good at things like that.
And then you had got an example of a marketing plan. Can you download that, or do you just have to block and copy and paste it into your own document?
Yeah, so there's different things you can do. Typically, I am going to more like copy and paste. It actually has here at the bottom an option. So there's a little copy clipboard. You can just simply click on that, and then you can paste it into a Word document or wherever else. I feel like that works best than just downloading this and being ready just to send it on. Because typically I do go in and edit these things even after it's done it, because it gets a few things wrong here and there. You want to add more of the human element to it as well. So I definitely don't use ChatGPT to write like everything. More so I use it as an ideal thing or a platform, and then I'll just copy and paste it over to whatever program or software I need to refine it in.
And one final question. I've heard that there is a question regarding copyright for content created by AI. Is this true, and should we worry about this?
Yeah, there's lots of lawsuits and struggles and concerns around various things about like copyright and stuff. So I guess I'll address two different things. One is you do not want, say you're going to start a website and a blog. You do not want to use ChatGPT to write your blog entries for you. You can go to ChatGPT and have it write up a blog entry as like an example to help you write alongside of and then write it on your own. But Google and other search engines have already developed AI detector software that can determine if something is human or artificial intelligence. Now, there's some loopholes that you can get by with that. You could actually train the AI to write like in your style. So if you are going to use the AI to write your articles, one thing that I might recommend is you first write your own articles, blog posts, whatever it is, and save, 4 or 5 Word documents or PDFs. You can upload those into the chat software, so it will learn your writing style, the types of words you use, your transitions, and your tone, and then it can write like you. So that way it's not stealing from other authors, other writers. But at the end of the day, I think it's best to write your own things and just use this as a way to give you an idea. So like this press release, I wouldn't just copy and paste it and be done. I would actually go in and rewrite it to my own. But if you're somebody that's never wrote a press release, and I've seen many come across my desk that are nowhere close to what the media accepts or expects, this would be a great place for people like that to get a start on these, or just figure out some words to say. So, and then the last one, it's a little bit more fun, but it actually can be used very effectively for busy professionals. So this one is a meal prepping prompt that I came up with. So you would just kind of change this information out with your own self. So I'm just going to put in, I want to save money and eat better. I'm a 35-year-old male with who primarily works at a desk. I weigh about 215 pounds and I don't exercise a lot. I would like some well-balanced meal planning for breakfast, lunch, and dinner utilizing a 2,000 calorie daily diet. Please put this meal plan in table format. And after you complete the meal plan, please give me the instructions on how to prepare the meals utilizing the ingredients and portions. So I'm just going to plug that into ChatGPT real quick. And what it's going to do is take that information and go ahead and start crafting a meal plan for the week. And I do this a lot, but I put in a lot more instructions for it. So for example, my wife's a vegetarian. I am not. So I include that kind of information with ChatGPT as well, so that I know that I'm getting good varieties of food that fit both a vegetarian and somebody that chooses to still eat meat. So you can see what it's doing here. It's creating this table for us. So we have the meal time. So it's giving us a breakfast, snack, lunch, another snack, and then dinner. It's going to tell us what the dish is, the main ingredients for that, and the approximate calories to be intaking for the day. Now, this isn't always perfect. You might have to fine tune and change things around. But if anything, it gives you an idea of where to start for certain things. So now it's going to give me the preparation instructions and tell me how to make each of these things. And this is just for one day. You can tell this to do a weekly meal plan, which I thought I did, but I may have left that out. But it gives you a great start. Now, the thing I like about this, I didn't include this in the prompt because I wanted to show you at the end here. But once this gets done creating this, this meal plan for us, which I've even had it create recipes for me when I didn't know what else to cook at home. So I would just go through my refrigerator and my cabinets and tell ChatGPT, hey, here's all the ingredients I have. Give me like 5 dinner ideas based on these ingredients. And it would come up with all kinds of cool stuff that I never even thought of. So if your dinner plans are kind of getting bland, you can use it to create inspiration and creativity there. But here's the thing I really want to show you. So I'm going to give it one more prompt based on all this information. Now, create a grocery shopping list for me. So what it's going to do is take everything that I'm going to need for this food, and it's going to create a grocery shopping list. So, yep, there we go. So it's going to break it up into fruits and vegetables. It's going to tell me how many that I would need to buy of each of these things to make all these different meals. And it just creates a list. At this point, I can copy and paste it to my grocery shopping app on my phone. And then as I'm going through the store, I can just start marking these things off. So that's something else I use this for outside of just the professional setting. This is something I use in my personal life that's very beneficial. So when you start thinking that you can use it for things like this, then you start thinking about maybe workout plans. Maybe it's weight loss plans. Now, again, take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt. You still want to cross-reference with, you know, professional weight loss websites or workout websites, maybe talk and consult with a trainer. But to get you started on some basic tasks and things, it's a very powerful resource. And as far as the prompts I have, that's essentially it for now. So if we have any other questions about maybe some of the GPTs and explore those, or any other things you can do with this or other AI softwares, I'm happy to talk about that.
I don't see any other questions right now. Wait, whoops. Is the copy and paste the normal way to that it looks like you can maybe download the recipe? Do you have to, can you download these like the recipe that they gave you, or do you have to?
Yeah, so I have a system as to how I do it. They're still adding a lot of the features as far as the things you can do within ChatGPT. So one of the things I use is a free software called Notion. So let me just go ahead and pull that up. So I have a thing here called a second brain. Now you can create this as simple or as complex as you want, but I actually have a recipe book. So a lot of these recipes that I have here have come from ChatGPT or things I've just kind of conjured up at home. So with my recipe book, typically the way it works, let's just go to grilled chicken and roasted veggies. So I have here just kind of the very basic ways of doing this from recipes that I generated from ChatGPT in the past. I do have another section somewhere in here that's got my full meal plans, but that's basically what I'm doing. I'm grabbing this table. So when you copy and paste this table like that, it's actually going to pull the whole table over, not just the text. So it keeps all that formatting.
Chad, we didn't have a question, but we just had someone say it's neat to ask it to write the response in the style of, for example, Dr. Seuss.
Oh yeah. So let's try that real quick. And we'll say, maybe will give us a workout plan or something. So create for me a workout plan to help with muscle movement. Give me this response in the style of Dr. Seuss. And hopefully I don't spell that too wrong. So that is actually pretty interesting. So, I mean, yeah, if you have a character that you really like or look up to, that could be the person. You know, maybe you're needing a little motivation. Put that Tony Robbins is your new motivational speaker in ChatGPT. I actually tried this with somebody that I look up to in productivity and had my ChatGPT designed to speak to me as that productivity expert, but it got kind of annoying after a while because it was always cracking jokes like he does and different things. So I took that away and made it back to basic again. But you can see here, it's written it kind of more like a Dr. Seuss book would be, and it's got, you know, your rhyming and things. So there is a lot of customization you can do. And actually, when you set up your own ChatGPT, you can go into the back end here and customize your GPT experience. So my GPT knows that I work in marketing. It knows that I have a YouTube channel and a bookstore and all these different things. So when I'm conversing with it, if those things become relevant to the discussion, it'll tie that stuff into the conversation and have all that information on hand. So it's not having to do the research every single time. So you can customize your experience specifically for you.
That's pretty darn neat. Question, how would a person remove that style after the fact?
And in this case that we just did, because we didn't actually program it into the back end, we should just be able to do something as simple as start a new chat. So I could ask it again. And it should go back to normal. Okay, yeah. So in this case, because we're in a new chat, it's going to go back to just basic ChatGPT. If you did program it on the back end into the customized GPT section, I would just go in there and delete that voice or tone or whatever it was you wrote. You could write in a new one or just get rid of it altogether. So this is another example of what the paid ChatGPT will do. You can get these dual responses, so you can determine which response you like better. And let's say we like response 2, I can click on that and it's just going to give me that response version. Oh, you're welcome, Gary. And I guess I'll throw in one other thing that's interesting when it comes to AI like this is it's really good at helping you summarize things. So if you don't understand like certain types of jargon, like say it's legal jargon or something, let's say there's a new bill or a law that's coming out and you read it and you're like, I have no idea what that means. You can copy and paste those things into ChatGPT like I've done here, and it will summarize it for you in layman's terms about these different things that are out there. You know, if you're looking for more information on, say, like if there's a YouTube video and you're kind of not understanding all of it, you can download the transcript of that video, upload the transcript into ChatGPT, and then it'll summarize everything they're talking about. And I think that's where some of the copyright issues come into play, because here's an example. I recently read a book that I like a ton called Comfort Crisis. So I can say, can you summarize the book Comfort Crisis for me? List 10 main bullet points. So what it's actually doing, it's actually taking the information it knows about that book and finding it on the internet, and it's going to put in here 10 bullet points about it. So in theory, people could use things like ChatGPT for the wrong reasons. And in this case, now I know the main highlights of this book. So do I even have to buy it anymore? I would recommend, yes, buy this book. It's fantastic. There's no summary that will ever do it justice. But that's one of the issues that we're seeing with a lot of different types of artificial intelligence is things like this can happen, and these are negative impacts. So this kind of comes into a discretion of how do these things get avoided? Because there's a lot of people out there that welcome artificial intelligence to do this, because now all I have is a summary of the book. It's not actually going to be able to put the book in here for me, at least not that I'm aware of. But now that I see the summary, it might spark me to want to go buy it now, rather than just reading reviews on some place like Amazon, which are typically paid for anyhow. So there is a lot of good and bad, as there is in everything. It's all about how the individual chooses to use it. All right, and I don't think I see any other questions.
I don't either. I know for myself, I sure did learn a lot.
I guess, so this is the background I was talking about. So this whole background was created with the Midjourney, the like $10 a month artificial intelligence image generator. I was trying to experiment with some modern futuristic YouTube backgrounds. So this is based on a prompt that I gave it, and then I'm now free to use it. So
I'm with Sandy. I learned more than I thought I was going to. Thank you very much, Chad. It's always a pleasure to hear your presentations, because you're very precise in what you talk about. I'm going to have to log off, but I do thank you very much for doing new knowledge today.
And Chad, you're getting several thank yous and very informative. As I say, I could think a lot of cases where it's a small business owner, there's just so much on you, but if this can help you reduce some steps or give you some ideas, because sometimes I know for myself, work gets really busy and it's hard for me to really focus on developing something, but that can give me a start. As you said, though, you really need to go through it after it gives you like a sample and do your own touch and edit that. But I can see all kinds of great ways it can be used.
Yeah, definitely. And idea generation is huge. I use it a lot to generate ideas to create new videos, because when you create something, sometimes it's hard to come up with new ideas and spark creativity. And usually you would do that in a setting around a team. But if you're a sole proprietor, you're an individual, you may not have a team to talk to for ideas of creativity. So you could ask ChatGPT, like, give me 10 things that I need to post on social media to promote my lawn care business. And it might say, well, show us behind the scenes of your equipment. Tell your story about how you got started. So you can use it for just simple, basic things like that too.
Well, great. Chad, I want to thank you for your time and for sharing your expertise. We couldn't do this program without folks like yourself sharing your knowledge, and that's why we have it, New Knowledge, hearing from professionals. Also, I want to thank each one of you for joining us today. I hope that everyone learned a lot, because I certainly did. I just want to do a plug for our next session in 2 weeks. On March the 6th, we will continue our marketing series, and that will be focused on branding and using Canva, and that will be presented by Letterpress, who's doing those monthly for us in a whole series of marketing sessions. And just a reminder, today's session was recorded and will be up on our YouTube at New Knowledge. You can find it there, or you can go to the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and you can find it on their Facebook page. So we thank you. And two, if you found value on this, I will be sending you a link to the upload and the copy of Chad's slides. It's helpful for you, but if you have a colleague or someone that you work with that this can help, share it with them. This is the whole reason that we're developing this content. So again, thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in a couple weeks. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you so
Appreciate you.
much.
Goodbye.
Bye.